Hello, welcome to History's a Blast. We're here at Lynchburg, Tennessee at the Jack Daniel Distillery, and we're going to take one of the tours. So come along and have fun with us. The Jack Daniel's Distillery is in Lynchburg, Tennessee, which it turned out lay on the more or less direct route that we mapped out from Georgetown, Kentucky to Huntsville, Alabama to avoid interstate highways. Before we go there, though, I want to share a little bit about where we camped and a couple of craft breweries that we enjoyed on the way to our Huntsville destination. Now, the weather in the Midwest and Deep South during late April and early May of 2021 was mostly cool and wet. It rained on us our last night in Ohio. And we arrived at Whispering Hills RV Park in Georgetown the next day in the rain. But there were some really nice days in between the stormy periods. And through the magic of video editing software, I'll clear the clouds for a quick drive through our part of the place. We stayed here on both legs of our trip because of last-minute cancellations at Fort Boonesborough State Park, which had suffered major flood damage from the Kentucky River in March. Now, this isn't a very scenic place, and the sites are pretty close together, but it is smack dab in the middle of the bluegrass. It has an up-to-date bathhouse and laundry that they keep very clean. It's quiet and very convenient to the U.S. highway and interstate nexus around Lexington. Our little Merriweather was hard to find among the megalo motorhomes, but our windsock on a telescoping fiberglass pole helped. Looking to relax and have a beer or two before bedding down after a 3-hour tow over hill and dale and driving rain and high winds, we found the ingeniously named My Old Kentucky Foam right downtown, and with an in-house pizza place called Big Tony's. Links in the description below. They have quite a lot of choices on tap, as well as a fairly well-stocked full-service bar. I had a couple of pints of award-winning Georgetown brown ale. Very tasty. While Mrs. History's a Blast nursed a dram of Maker's Mark with continuously flowing Diet Coke. For an overnight stop between Georgetown and Huntsville, we used our Harvest Hosts membership to Boondock in the parking lot of Jighead Brewing Company in Cookeville, Tennessee. As old soldiers, we knew we were among friends when we noticed this sign on the yellow barrel behind Merriweather. Actually, it's not for customers, but for law enforcement officers coming and going from the probation center next door. We wandered around inside and had a nice talk with the owner before sitting down to a relaxing evening in the beer garden, where the open air and the space between tables made it okay to smoke a cigar with one's beer. We highly recommend Jighead Brewing, but if you boondock there, most of the parking area is on a slope, so you'll probably need leveling blocks. Next morning it was on to Huntsville, Alabama via Lynchburg, Tennessee, and that facepalm moment when driving by Jack Daniel's with note to selves for a rainy day activity. Now, as it turned out, rainy days were not in short supply in northern Alabama that week, and after the first of 2 severe weather events that we managed to come through with Merriweather still upright, we made the 45-minute return trip to take the Distillery Tour. In Huntsville, we took advantage of our military retirees benefits to book a week's stay at the RV park at the Redstone Arsenal Army Base, where, by the way, Space Command is to be headquartered. Driving into Lynchburg from the south through rolling farmland, you will see huge sheet metal warehouses called barrel houses, which I stupidly failed to record, on both sides of the road. There are 72 such barns scattered in and around Lynchburg. Together they hold almost 2 million barrels of aging whiskey. Jack Daniel's is the economy here. Visitors parking is on the north side of the main road, State Highway 50 or 55 depending on which direction you're coming from, while Stillhouse Hollow, where the historic downtown, the distillery, and the recently expanded visitor center are located, is on the south side. There are enough informative exhibits in the visitor center to keep you busy during the short wait for your tour to start. and the story of Nearest Green, a slave who taught young Jack Daniels everything he knew about making whiskey, and of his and his descendants' role in the future of the enterprise will no doubt be of interest to visitors. After a short bus ride into the hollow, we walked to the facility where they make the charcoal used to filter the whiskey in what is called the Lincoln County process before it goes into the barrels. Then we passed two antique fire engines. I assume they weren't in service, on the way to the limestone spring that feeds the distillery, and I just can't resist antique fire engines. Here is where you can pose for a picture with a statue titled Jack on the Rocks. You see what they did there? Ironically, Moore County is dry, so Jack Daniels can't be bought anywhere in Lynchburg except as commemorative bottles sold at the distillery gift shop as allowed by overriding state law. And, as allowed by county ordinance, every employee gets a bottle of Old No. 7 on payday every week. So there's that. Our guide next took us to the old office building, where one of the main exhibits is the old company safe. Jack died of blood poisoning, and an old story, disputed by his biographer, says it started in a toe that he injured when he kicked this safe in anger because he couldn't remember the combination. Well, at any rate, there was no more picture taking inside any of the buildings we visited after this until the whiskey tasting in the barrel house. But I was taken by the unambiguously industrialized view from the top of those steps in an otherwise bucolic setting for such an intensive manufacturing complex. There are 4 tour options, one of which involves a meal, another is alcohol-free, and the other 2 end with different levels of whiskey tasting at the newly converted barrel house. We opted for the Flight of Jack Daniels, a sampling of small drams of the classic Old No. 7, the longer-aged Gentleman Jack, and 3 very tasty liqueurs. A good time was had by all. That's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this video and will take time to view some of our other ones. Thanks for watching. Please click the thumbs up icon to like the video and share with your friends via email or social media. I'd love to have you subscribe, and if you do, please click the little bell icon so you'll get notifications whenever I post a new video. Goodbye.